Hello everybody, here for the Hammer Game Channel, and welcome back to the New Order and to my Germany playthrough with, well, he's not really doing anything now, Mr. H, since, you know, he's in a comatose. He's not doing great. Right now, we are in the process of just finishing off our part of the tree here that we currently have unlocked. Plan assaults adaptive. Max planning, reinforced rate, max planning, supply consumption, recovery rate and defense, recovery rates of attack, organization, planning speed. You know, adaptive command. Nope, look for opportunities available. Military budget review. After the Second World War, the German military bore no rival. Our military spending was second to none, as was our might. We proved the world our strength by accomplishing what many consider impossible. We retained tight control over our conquest and expanding our empire even more by occupying the entire middle section of the Dark Continent. Since then, we've spent the better part of 2 decades crushing army after army of partisans, as well as the Russian invasion. The economic collapse of the 50s made the burden of maintaining the hero's budget a titanic struggle, although many begged for funds to be funneled them elsewhere. Hitler stood by the Wehrmacht and would not hear of it. Therefore, for the last 2 decades, Germany has somehow miraculously maintained its military budget, for better or worse, without another major economic crisis. Militarists in both the Wehrmacht and administration continue to lobby to maintain current spend to this day. On the other side of the aisle, a coalition of reformers, civilian interests, industrialists, and even limited numbers of conservatives from the NSDAP beg us to cut the Wehrmacht's budget for much needed allocation of funds elsewhere. Being in a position of power ourselves, combined with Hitler's ailing health, allows us to now make a change in policy. We so choose. Our enemies grow stronger every day, the budget remains. Which also increases Bormann's. Oh, for Pete's sake. Bormann's going to have the best start. Bormann is making moves. It's about bloody time. Heydrich and Spear have made more moves. We've made some wee moves. We do have 10,000 guns coming in. We don't have any forts. We have 1 military factory. We're going to have 4 divisions coming to our side. I do want to spend more. We have lots of political power now, actually, which is quite good. We do get another 10 influence, well, sorry, legitimacy there. I keep calling it influence, legitimacy. What we could do is we could spend another 5 now. They're all, influence is all going to increase again. Influence military contractors. I think we go for more divisions. Bring here regiments to our side. Let's bribe them to our side. We need all the divisions we can. Well, saying that, is it better to be like have less divisions but more equipment, or less divisions, more equipment, or more divisions and less equipment? It's hard to decide. We've made our move. Strangle the SS. Crush the liberals. Let's crush liberals. The student-led reformist elements of society continue to cause a great deal of trouble for the Reich at large. Under the leftist influence of the Reichsminister Speer, it's a constant fight with these protesters, who shall not relent in their deranged screeching until their mad reformist policies are implemented by the government. We have no choice but to unleash our men upon the student insurrectionary forces, as they actively threaten and compromise the stability and security of our Reich. Increase the loyalty of the militarists. A matter of shooting first. Heydrich must die. Göring folded his arms and prowled around the table, deep in thought. He and his lackeys must be purged. We'll use the 50s coup as our explanation. Göring could feel a surge of energy spiking through him as he reeled off his list of foes. He hadn't felt this alive since 1934. I still haven't decided on Heinrich Müller. He's a born Mannite, yes, but many of them will flock to my cause when I am declared Fuhrer. He stays on the list. He's too much of a risk. Scorner was strumming his fingers against the table. As for Speer's supporters, we should start with his merry band of Bolsheviks. Giesinger, Schmidt, and loathsome Erhard, Trescal, they should all be hanged as traitors. Not Trescal, Göring corrected. He is a military man. He must be shot. The Night of the Long Knives had not been this complicated. Purging SA leadership, a few conservatives, party rivals, nothing compared to the political quagmire Göring had to navigate. There are many rising officers that must be taken care of as well, Schorner continued. Short, if you insist. Show me the list. Göring ran his eyes over the names of a frown. Are these men even political? Perhaps not, but I certainly am. Schorner said with an unblinking stare. If I weren't, you would not be in such a high standing with the militaries. If you think these deaths are necessary, then so be it, Göring muttered, understanding the threat. Was this how Hitler had felt all those years ago as Göring nudged him into purging his own personal rivals? What we need is a Reich free of traitors and threats. Okay, 75, man. Hoofed. The Central Siberian Republic declared when the provisional government of Krasnonia is sick. Prime Minister of Thailand died. Okay. Spear's making more moves. Heydrich's making more moves. Of course, we're still making our moves. Our legitimacy is increasing, of course, as well. It's not much longer though. It clearly cannot be much longer. It's within 100 days now. It is within 100 days, and we're going to explode. I haven't even looked at our leaders or anything. Schorner. My God, the shades. There's Trescal. Thanom Kittikarahorn. Oh, I said that wrong. So how we look? Oh, there's Otto Ernest Remmer. It's disappointing not to see Manstein and Heinz here, unless they're elsewhere. That's all our guys there. Communist Revolution Levant. I'm sorry, what? Communists. George Habash. The what? Okay. The Levantine People's Republic. I think we'll hold off and do anything else. Strangle the SS. Himmler's psychopathic beast in Germania, Reichsfuhrer SS Heydrich, has continued to undermine the government since the outbreak of troubles in the early 1950s. Despite the seemingly unlimited power of the Schutzstaffel, their borderline treasonous actions must be halted without impunity. We have no choice but to strangle the SS, throwing them from their collapsing glass tower of secrecy and bureaucracy. In Göring's right, treachery is not a tolerable offence. Everything will be uncovered. Look for opportunities. Kaya, elected Prime Minister of Japan. Okay. Protests reach new heights. Oh, good. We can just increase my legitimacy. Student protests have long plagued the Reich. Intermittent rallies and campus marches are not unheard of and have been held in small numbers ever since the NSDAP came into power. However, protests have become much more frequent and intense after Hitler announced his successor. In major cities all across the Reich, German students have held rallies and marches across university campuses, with some migrating into the streets. Citizens have effectively shut down most campuses, and students have taken upon themselves to block off government and army buildings. Many of the larger gardens have flat out refusing to disperse, and students at many of the sit-ins refused to budge. A large crowd of over 200 people even blocked off an SS barracks. It was a miracle that no one died. We need to do something about the student protesters now before the situation spirals out of our hands. One way or another, we need to take action. And action we will take. Give the order, send in the army. And what we'll do is, I think we'll divert some more infantry equipment. 15,000 guns. It's going to be very nice for us. How are we doing logistic-wise? Yeah, we're still massively short of everything. Well, planes, we're making planes. We're positive with them. And you know, the Wasserfall. Do I want to change any of this? Oh, gosh. Oh. That's not good. Oh, gosh. A report from Norway. Okay, I honestly don't care about Norway right now. Okay, Bormann's made his moves, but they're about to gain influence again. It's okay, because I'm going to increase my influence soon. What's in a name? I'm sure as soon as we've done that, maybe give it a couple of weeks and we're going to blow up. Okay. Second Verona Congress. Loyalty to the Deuce. Okay. Francisco Franco is still here, but for how much longer? Oh yeah, I didn't actually understand what the Gibraltar Dam was, and like the whole thing about like the Iberian Union having to save the dam. But it's because the Germans failed to complete it, and let's say it's been done really badly. Really badly. Leaving the dam as a failed project, the Iberian overseers noted numerous failings in the walls and locks. Not what you want from a dam. Right, Grand. Invoke Hitler's name. With the Reich quickly descending into utter chaos, it's obvious that the Fatherland will not find peace following the Fuhrer's passing. Yet there's still some glimmer of hope. To quell any questions of legitimacy once and for all, we will invoke the Fuhrer's name. And once again, remind the public that Reichsmarshal Göring is a legitimate successor. With this hope, a reminder perhaps puts a damper on the aspirations of others. We get 10 legitimacy, change in National Socialism 2%, gets the event What's in a Name? Okay, do I want to spend 5 right now? Actually, getting up to 60 is going to be grand. They're all making moves, to be fair. They are all making moves again. Doesn't take them long to... Oh, it's only 30 days. The Welsh Revolution. Ah, the state of Wales is here now. Julian K.O. Evans. You are very much against joining up with England. Split the Unionists. He's very against them. The HK21, let's grab that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Can we possibly have another little opportunity moment, please? Just one last one. Kemerovo. Another war. This is when Russia starts basically declaring war on everyone, isn't it? Oh, I can have a wee look at the tree. Ah! Operation Blue. Grand. Just have a wee look at this, because obviously I will be coming to this in very soon, obviously, because I'm playing as Sverdlovsk as well right now. With my boy Konstantin Rokozovsky. 65. Well, if we can get right behind them, then again they're gonna... Oh, look for opportunities. Ah, don't increase borings. The Autobahn Renewal project. Germany's famous highway system, the Autobahn, has seen better days. When Hitler took the project over in the early 30s, he greatly expanded the system to encompass the entirety of the Reich, making it the largest highway system in the world. After the Second World War, plans were put into motion to see the expansion of the Autobahn to all corners of German-dominated Europe, from Moscow to the Gibraltar Dam, and everything in between. Ambitious expansions were planned for the booming growing cities of the Reich, and were proceeding smoothly. The great economic crash of the 50s put a quick stop to everything. Funding was massively cut, making the planned expansion simply impossible. The highway has begun to decay from chronic lack of maintenance. A stack of proposals has been sent over to our desk. The paperwork details plans for a massive works project to begin much needed repairs all throughout the Reich on the Autobahn. Expansion plans for easily congested areas have also been mapped out. We only need to give the OK to begin the work. We will put the here to work. Oh, why did Bormann and Göring, we're two alike. We're two alike. At least I'll get up to 65 once this is done, so I'm not that far behind them. And hopefully it doesn't improve before we ultimately things kick off. There we go. The tree is done. Ah, excellent. Göring threw the newspaper back on the table and plucked up the next document. He scanned it intensely and shook his head with a tut. The extract shows if you're praising Goebbels, not me. My apologies, Right Marshal. Herr Fischer said he said, my men have been scouring for weeks. Apologies are not necessary, the Göring laughed. Just replace Joseph Goebbels with Hermann Göring. He's not going to complain from the grave, is he? He picked up a transcript dated from September the 1st, 1939. One of Hitler's many speeches to the Reichstag. Ahem. Should something happen to me in this battle, my first successor will be Party Member Göring. Make sure this one is released first. Newspaper and speech extracts, quotes by esteemed party members, newsreel footage of Hitler and Göring shaking hands, or standing side by side on a Reichstag balcony, or deliberating over war plans. Audio recordings of Hitler praising Göring. The successor had ordered his men to comb through all of it, compiling everything for detailed inspection. Once they had received his blessing, they would all be sent to the Ministry of Propaganda and Public Enlightenment, spread to the German people. The public had to be certain of the future Fuhrer's legitimacy, and so he was presenting himself as a natural progression of leadership. For the average German, continuity means safety. Hermann and Hitler prepare for the history books. Iberia announced the creation of the Iberian Council. Ooh, the Iberian Council. Looks like their influence is going to increase again. Heydrich's not got a great deal of influence right now. Bormann's going to be 10 ahead of us, that's fine. We're going to be 20 ahead of Speer. Oh, when's it going to kick off? It should be soon. It should be very soon now. Infantry anti-tanker grade 4. Let's grab it. We're going to have to take down Himmler at some point. I don't want to be... We have non-aggression packs. Oh, we're going to be killing you, Himmler. That's for sure. Oh, why do we hate each other? Failed coup degenerates soft sanctions. Oh no. He lies catatonic on his deathbed, alone except for his physicians seated beside him. Outside the room lie 100 million souls in terrible waiting. Yet his consciousness is in an empty bliss beyond this world. His life flashes by him in reverse. He recalls her funeral. How his heart broke and only his relevance to his motherland remained. The Cathedral of Light during the Victory Parade after the war. The long conquest against Judeo-Bolshevism. He mercilessly fought. The world's power and awe of Germany at the Olympic Games. A struggle to break the old order with blood and steel. That was with his parents when he dreamed to end all dreams. The stream ends with one final shot of morphine. His worn eyes open for the injection. He looks around, as if searching for something. Behind the silver of luminance left in between the curtains, he sees the Volkshall, bathed in sunlight. He stares at the dome for some time, trying to remember Deutschland before he hears a whisper. The lonely voice he truly loved. He shifts his gaze, and for a fleeting moment she is there. Her apparition fading, he whispers his last word, a single tear welling in his eye. Ava? There was no sounds for a while except for a faint susurrating of oak leaves and the chirping of barn swallows. The news of Adolf Hitler's passing came after 1 hour of peace. There would never again be silence for the children of Germania. Farewell, my Fuhrer. And there we go. He's gone. He has died. The Reichstag Emergency Council is now in place. The funeral is here. Well, this one came up first. Göring had spent so much time poring over his spies' reports about the state of Hitler's health. It had almost become an addiction. When his informant had been ousted from the Eberkhof, he had grown restless, pacing throughout the corridors within the forest without Cairnhall. The old man had fallen into a coma. Yes, but how long until he finally died? He did not have to wait too long. Rumours had begun to spread like wildfire, first through Germania and then the Reich at large. Politicians discussed it, medical experts debated it, and the common citizen was theorising about it. The same words were on everyone's lips. The Fuhrer is dead? Since the explosion of these rumours, a wave of uneasiness had washed through Göring. He was excited, yes, excited for the future of Reich, excited for himself. Every day he fantasized about his subordinates saluting him and hailing his name, or the new portraits that would be placed in every household, or the new uniform he would request to be designed. Yet he could not shake the feeling of fear that stirred deep inside him. Bormann, the SS, Speer, none would resist his rise to power without a fight. Minutes turned into hours, the hours grew into days. Soon the rumours had become a fact. The Fuhrer was dead. The Reich was officially leaderless. Herr Göring, his butler cried out as Göring was returning from a stroll in the forest. I just received a terrible call. The Reichstag. They met earlier today without you. The Renting councillors refusing to pronounce you as the new Fuhrer. They say this time is for mourning, not ceremony. Göring felt a sharp pang in his chest. He leaned against his butler, taking deep breaths. Those fucking bastards. Pardon my French. Germania had escaped his grip. No matter, he had to act, and swiftly. Bormann, Speer and Heydrich had already fled the city according to his spies. War was coming. Extensive military preparations had already been made. It was time to fly north. Never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Goodbye, stability. A funeral for a Fuhrer. The funeral of Adolf Hitler was possibly the largest and most extravagant in history. Thousands of Germans stood in attendance, with nearly an entire division of soldiers just for the funeral march. Not to mention endless flyovers by the Luftwaffe and the constant jockeying for the best spots to show off by over a dozen military units. Even standout figures such as JFK, a representative of Emperor Hirohito, were in attendance. JFK was there? Heydrich, Göring and Bormann were all in attendance, and all gave their words in the leader's passing. Today is a day of mourning. Crisis has struck Germany. We must be strong in the coming days together. For the entire Reich, now is the time for healing. And then they were gone. Not even half an hour after the body was lowered, 4 staff cars and their convoys were steering off to parts unknown, preparing for plans no doubt only just beginning. That was abrupt. Okay. Looks like we still have some time, because we are now able to influence civilian factory contracts. Yep, he's currently dead. Let's bring some more regiments. Since the death of Hitler, the Luftwaffe has begun to act array. The great jet birds begin to fly without command across many areas of the Reich. Airfields vacate as seemingly every air wing, and the Luftwaffe undertakes a great migration, destination yet unknown. The strange flocking habits of these Luftwaffe birds is not restricted to just the aircraft. Fallschirmjäger divisions too load up their equipment and personnel into aircraft with unwarranted haste and soar off into destinations unknown. Luftwaffe personnel seem to be in the midst of an utter abandonment of post countrywide. Only a scarce few commanders plant their contingents firm upon their assigned airfields. As Field Marshal Swedel frantically attempts to officially ascertain the status of the Luftwaffe, workings in Germany are seemingly filled with their top brass, leaving their offices for personal reasons, pre-planned leave, or some simply depart Berlin with so much as a word to their superiors. Swedel may not have the official status of the dilemma on hand, yet there is no doubt in the minds of any that this is the work of the old Reichsmarshal Göring. His pieces will soon be in place. So has all the bombings stopped now? It would appear that the bombings have stopped. The Reich sits in a state of confusion now. For the past week, the Reichstag has been at one another's throats over the simple matter of who the citizens of the Reich should hail now the Fuhrer is dead. While it was always assumed that the next Fuhrer would be saluted, the current chaos and lack of any real planning for this crisis means the German people have been left in a state of utter confusion as the Reichstag has bickered and more ideologically minded hailed their chosen candidate for office. Soldiers hailed their generals or their home cities, citizens hailed workers in the economy, some still hailed Hitler. It seems as if every German had decided on their own special little salute and nobody liked one another. By the end of the week, Hail the Reich had become the most agreed upon salute by the people of Germany, but nobody seems particularly enthused about it anymore. Can we agree on nothing? No, we can't, because it's civil war time. The Heer's acting strange. Across the country, men from the Heer abandon their posts. Some divisions' roll calls have reported half or sometimes more of the men going AWOL. In a couple of instances, entire infantry and panzer divisions have simply disappeared off the map, only to reappear across the country in southern Germany. No explanation can be shaken from the officers and generals of these divisions, since they are either nowhere to be found or hidden away in the black spot of South Germany. To make matters worse, late last night, the general staff in Berlin vanished. The convoy of personnel cars and military trucks filled with high-ranking officials and their attachments were last seen heading south after picking up the troops at our checkpoints. There is no doubt that they are also heading south. Here messengers run amok in Germania, and formations all across Germany have suddenly leaderless and further disintegrating. From one partially burned letter, an aide managed to dig up alongside a couple of taped phone recordings reveal a common simple phase from Arne Bowman himself. It is time. Okay, it looks like everyone's getting their... Heydrich rises up. As a wave of violence continues throughout Germany, Heydrich has declared himself the rightful Führer of Germany. It's not new news for him, but what is news is the fact that he has called upon his SS to restore order within the country. First the SS based in Alsace-Lorraine, conveniently close to the border with Burgundy, and Ausprussen, his strongest areas of support, have stormed local police stations and administrative buildings with full intent of taking over all of Germany. Thanks to the absolute state of the Reich, however, we can do nothing. It has begun. Speerians rise up. After the recent chaos in the Reich, Albert Speer and divisions loyal to him have begun a rebellion in the northwest of Germany. Armed students have taken over government buildings in the area, and student uprisings have been reported throughout the country. Our country now continues to crumble as the first sparks of civil war have been lit. Oh dear. Oh, Göring's rising up. As the streets begin to fill with the sons of war and forces loyal to each contender begin armed insurrection, Erwin Göring has called upon loyal legions to stamp out rebellion within the nation by starting his own. About half of the country's total landmass has declared himself loyal to him, and his forces now begin to open battles against this loyal militiamen and the rest of the contenders. Would Hitler have wanted this? No, he wouldn't have, but it's what we have gotten. Oh, Bormann breaks away. German Reich, once a triumphant victor, has collapsed in outright civil war. This fact was confirmed earlier today as Martin Bormann, rather reluctantly, ordered the remaining German forces loyal to him to fully break away from the Reich and to begin warfare against the rest of the contenders for the next Fuhrer. Well, here we go. The Civil War begins. While tensions have been rising between the various factions in the Reich for years, nobody quite expected the explosion of violence that came shortly after the death of the Fuhrer. Everyone has seen, of course, the politicians scattering to their homes, the military arming themselves and locking down roads, the police taking up the heaviest weapons and barricading in their stations. Where for outright civil war? Expected or not, however, the war is here. Military units have focused their attention on Germania, ensuring the capital will remain under military control. But elsewhere, the pretenders to the throne of the Reich have armed themselves, and fighting has broken out across Germany. Spears, Heydrich, Bormann, and Göring. Nobody knows which will win, but all of the people of the nation know that dark days are ahead of them. With Germany collapse and anarchy in the streets, foreign powers have already begun debating what to do. The United States and Japan both have already begun looking into how best to exploit the chaos, and Iberia and Italy have quickly begun remilitarizing in order to carve out further influence in the chaos. Reich's commissariats, loyal vassals of the Reich, sit in chaos as well, their leaders debating on who to support, whether or not it's time to begin distancing their realms from the homeland. There will be blood. Hell yes, there will be blood.